Two women of the Lawi subgroup of the Kayan people living near Inle Lake, Shan State, Myanmar, Burma Sea, 1980s. Salon visitors before a session in the ultraviolet light room or solarium of the time Helena Rubinstein's salon in 1936. World War I. A Canadian soldier comforts a wounded Belgian infant November 1918. A young Bill Gates with Steve Jobs, 1985. Dutch resistance members celebrate when they hear the news of Adolf Hitler's death, May 1945. Leonardo DiCaprio on a motorcycle, 1995. Wild rabbit snacking on a British soldier's rations, 1915. In 1943, during World War II, the First Lady of the United States and the First Lady of China met at the White House. Since the First Lady of China was educated in the United States, they spoke to each other in English. Rosalind Baxendale and other costume members of the feminist activist group Witch, Women's International Terrorist Conspiracy from Hell, performing a Halloween hex on the steps of Federal Hall in New York City, 1968. Joe Biden, 1953. A girl with a tuba at the National Festival of Orchestras in London, 1923. A date with a circus performer, 1920s. Musician at Miami University, using his instrument as a sunshade, 1966. The contestants of Miss World 1972. Linda Carter is sitting in the middle. The Fellows at Homan Hall, Fresno State College's men's dormitory, claim a world record for stacking 73 people on a dormitory bed in May 1961. Family mountain climb, 1990s. Artist Ola Conn spent 3 years carving gnomes, fairies and animals into a fallen red gum tree trunk in the Fitzroy Garden, Melbourne, since 1931. In 1984, the first commercial cell phone, Motorola Dynatac 8000X, went on sale for $3,995. On August 8, 1899, American inventor Albert Marshall patented the refrigerator. Winner of the Miss Nairobi Beauty Contest, Kenya, 1966. separatist forces during the Battle of Bender in the Transnistrian War in 1992. Claimed daguerreotype early photography of Joseph Smith, founder of Mormonism, 1844. Barbara Berg, Force 10 from Navarone, 1978. Elvis Presley yearbook photo. Presidents Kennedy, Eisenhower and Truman at Eleanor Roosevelt's funeral, November 10, 1962. James Brown Miller, known as Killin' Jim, was a deadly mix of badge and bullets, a lawman when it paid, an outlaw when it suited him. Red Light District, Amsterdam, 1968. Brigitte Bardot in 1956, Timeless Elegance. Telephone booth on Myasnitskaya Street, USSR, 1927. Madonna on a bus in 1979. Lucy Liu Nesentazinde. Angelina Jolie, 1988. Police take Jim Morrison into custody after he chanted anti-Vietnam War slogans during a concert, 1968. Tsar Nicholas II of Russia opens the first State Duma of Russia at the Winter Palace on 10 May 1906. Sculpture worker and kolkhoz woman. In the foreground is a WAP-3 trolleybus, Moscow, USSR, 1939. Joe Pesci, Robert De Niro and Frank Vincent on the set of Goodfellas, 1990, United States. A group of children are playing outside. The boy on the right is holding a model airplane, USSR. Marilyn Monroe in Amagansett, New York, 1957. Kodachrome shot by Sam Shaw for a small session. Political deportees walk away from the Arc de Triomphe after a ceremony to rekindle the flame on the tomb of the unknown soldier, 1945. A boy dancing to French gypsy music, France, 1948. Empress Queen of Kings of Ethiopia, Ziuditu with Regent Rus Teferi Makonnen after her coronation 1917. Tornado near Vulcan, Alberta, Canada, July 8, 1927. Moscow transport at the turn of the epochs, 1939. Charles Manson's driver's license. (1984), British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher and her husband Dennis leave the Grand Hotel in Brighton after a bomb attack by the IRA. With them is Margaret's friend and aide Cynthia Crawford. Spring in Arkansas, United States, 1953. Serbian farmer continues his work as NATO bombs FR Yugoslavia during Operation Allied Force 1999. A goat in a communal apartment, 1982, Moscow. A Lithuanian girl sits on the toppled statue of Vladimir Lenin in Vilnius after the monument was removed from the centre of the Lithuanian capital on September 1, 1991. Vintage Coca-Cola vending machine, 6 cents per bottle, 1950s. Anti-flu masks, 1920s. The Ohio building of the Panama Pacific International Exposition being barged from San Francisco to San Carlos, August 16, 1916. Audrey Hepburn at the opening of a street in her honour. The Brandenburg Gate during the 11 Olympic Games held in Nazi Germany in August 1936. A young girl pushes her baby brother in a homemade buggy made from a Hercules powder box in Sweetwater County, Wyoming, 1946. A de Havilland Mosquito warms up its engines before a night reconnaissance mission, 1944, Belgium. Marilyn Monroe in a very early shot for a small local shot in 1944. Women wearing masks against a snowstorm. Photo by Yuri Sadovnikov, 1968, Sakhalin Island, Yuzhno-Sakhalinsk. Monica Bellucci, 1997. The Manchester Baby, the world's first electronic computer, 1948. 1976, the Bogside nationalist neighbourhood outside the city walls of Londonderry. Dr. Dre and Eminem, 1990s. Apaches delivering hay at Fort Apache, Arizona, 1893. Harry Powers, the butcher of Clarksburg, stands in jail. The police explained the bruises by claiming that Harry had fallen up some stairs, 1931. California Surfer Girls, 1964. Pope John Paul II in his youth. Trainer Walter Zapashny in a Lion, USSR, 1960s. The Fall of Saigon, Vietnam in April 1975. The Viet Cong cutting hair and Western clothes. The Apollo 8 astronauts, the first 3 humans to reach the Moon, 1968. Melanie Griffith and her pet lion, 1970s. In the early days of steam power in the 19th century, locomotive boiler explosions were a common occurrence. A day at the office on the early computers day. Camel Chariot, Palmyra, Syria. Ely Bowen was a victim of phocomelia, a genetic condition that left him with only flipper-like feet. Bowen was also an accomplished acrobat and possessed incredible physical strength. Young Muhammad Ali, then Cassius Clay. Entertaining the troops, and Margaret performing for United States soldiers in Vietnam, 1966. An 800-year-old pedunculate oak tree on the territory of the Ladushkin Butter Factory, June 1970, Kaliningrad region, Ladushkin. Etta Place. Christy Turlington, 1989. Audrey Hepburn in her London home with her cat, September 1951. Young and sassy Yvonne Craig in the early 1960s. Bathsheba Zooks. Legendary former Australian Prime Minister Bob Hawke is breaking a world record of drinking 2.5 pints, 1.2 litres, of beer in 11 seconds. A Vietnam War protester hands out copies of the alternative American newspaper Free Press on Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles. The best job in the factory, a reader would read books as workers worked to boost morale, 1933. A selfie with Hitler, Germany. The Addams Family 1964 version. A Party for White and Black Children, 1958, Virginia, United States. Early swimwear. Nikola Tesla in his laboratory in Colorado Springs, Colorado, United States, 1899. Checking in at Comic-Con San Diego, 1980. David Bowie yearbook photo. In 1979, Ken Fraser set the record for the largest Atlantic bluefin tuna caught, weighing 679 kilos. The Transcontinental Railroad, completed in 1869, was a monumental engineering achievement that connected San Francisco Bay with Bluffs, Iowa, spanning 1,911 miles. British rock band Pink Floyd, 1967. Behind the scenes of The Empire Strikes Back, 1980. Albert Einstein and his secretary Helen Ducas in Belgium in the summer of 1933. Eruption of Tolbachik volcano, Kamchatka, 1975. A photo of D-Day veterans sitting across from their younger selves. Kurt Cobain, 1992. Judy Garland taking a break on the set of The Wizard of Oz, 1939. Testing of the German 37mm Flak 18 anti-aircraft gun in a Barrow tunnel. Germany, Braunschweig, 1940. Work on the monument to the Founding Fathers of the United States on Mount Rushmore. (1969) A British armoured car moves through Strabane, County Tyrone. Boston police officer Frank Pomodoro comforting his partner and police horse, October 1989. Photograph of a fallen soldier from the Battle of the Somme in 1916, taken by German soldier Walter Kleinfeld. Filming the train scene in Back to the Future Part 3, 1990. Nathaniel Morgan removes a pig from a container located in the nuclear test zone at the Nevada test site, 1957. David Bowie, 1976. Girl on a scooter, le Touquet Paris-Plage, France, 1921. Teenagers listening to a jukebox in their local candy store, 1951. The head of the great commander and king of Sweden, Charles XII, 1682-1718, with a hole from a fatal bullet received during the siege of the Fredrikstad fortress in Norway. Acrobat Mara Campo showing off for a fan circa 1950s during her prime. (1960s) Halloween. A policeman stands next to a member of the Black Legion, 1936. Soap bubbles, 1940. Disney Channel's The All-New Mickey Mouse Club in the 1990s set Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake, Christina Aguilera, Ryan Gosling, Kerry Russell, J.C. Chases and the rest of the cast up for superstar careers. 1972, masked members of the Loyalist Ulster Defence Association detain two hooded IRA suspects in Belfast. David Bowie and Iman at their wedding, June 6, 1992, Florence, Italy. Woman using a mobile phone at London Heathrow Airport, 1980s.